First at 4, breaking news on golf star Tiger Woods. He was just rescued after a car crash, rushed to the hospital, and we'll have the latest on what happened and what we know about his injuries. Also, 2 people are charged for making threats against public officials in Michigan, a judge and U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow. And Ben probably has the best news of the day.
Yeah, Karen, looks nice outside, feels a whole lot nicer. The question is, are the 40s one and done, or can we keep it going? Answers right now, first at 4.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news coming out of California, where golfer Tiger Woods is rushed to the hospital after a rollover crash. This is the view of the scene where it appears Woods' SUV rolled down a hillside near Los Angeles. We're told rescuers had to use the jaws of life to get him out. Now, according to his manager, Woods suffered multiple leg injuries and is currently undergoing surgery and has asked for privacy. Of course, we'll keep you updated with any new information. Also breaking this afternoon, Michigan's Attorney General Dana Nessel announcing charges against 2 men accused of threatening public officials. 62-year-old Daniel Thompson of Harrison faces a few misdemeanor charges. He's accused of leaving threatening messages for U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow and also making threatening calls to Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin. 43-year-old Clinton Stewart of Georgia is facing similar charges. He is accused of making threats against Court of Claims Judge Cynthia Stevens, accusing her of being an activist. Our Mara McDonald is gathering reaction from those targeted, and our coverage will continue tonight at 5. Well, it's pretty clear a Michigan judge is struggling with some key legal issues in the Flint water case against former Governor Rick Snyder. Snyder is accused of 2 counts of willful neglect of duty and could face a year in prison if convicted. His team trying to have that case dismissed, arguing prosecutors filed in the wrong county. Now, in court today, the judge said he was not prepared to rule, wanting more time to read over those filings. He says this case is unprecedented because it involves a case brought at both circuit court and district court levels. The judge also asked both sides if they thought he is the proper judge to hear the case, since he is a resident of Flint.
I feel that I can decide these issues fairly. It still does not erase the fact that others may think that because of potential undue pressure of this unique circumstance, that my ruling on the actions, findings, and conclusions of a circuit court judge who is, in the scheme of things, a superior judge to me, that some might think that that's an appearance of bias.
Both sides will discuss the matter further next week, and Snyder's legal team will have a chance to file any motions to disqualify the judge by Monday morning. Well, you might have noticed westbound I-96 is closed again at the Davison. State police have been looking for some new clues in a deadly shootout. It happened last night on I-96 near Schaefer. 3 people are dead, and police have so many questions. We're told people inside 2 cars were shooting at one another. A man and a woman inside one of the cars died of gunshots. A 3rd person inside a 2nd car tried to run away but died after being hit by another vehicle that wasn't involved. We're talking with state police, and we'll update the investigation when you join us at 5. Hundreds of Wayne County residents are getting their COVID-19 vaccinations at pop-up clinics. Our cameras are rolling this morning at the facility serving Highland Park and Hamtramck. The process has faced some challenges with jammed phone lines and the appointments booking up so quickly. The shots are by appointment only for seniors and a few select groups. We'll have a live update on the program and how it's going at 5. And remember, no matter where you live, we are posting links to information on different ways you can get the vaccine. It takes some work and some persistence, but you can start the process with the information at clickondetroit.com. Today, the state is reporting 34 additional deaths, with more than half from a review of medical records. We've seen another 1,300 new cases of the virus. All right, before we go any further, let's take a few seconds to appreciate that sunshine, right? We are in the 40s today. Ben Bailey standing by with a pretty good first forecast for a February afternoon, Ben.
Yeah, considering that we're not even to March 1st and there's very little ice in the river, there's sun in the sky. The rest of it is gravy, but man, these temperatures are a huge departure from where we have been for most of this month. 47 right now in Detroit, mid-40s elsewhere, still a little bit breezy, but that is the least of our concerns this afternoon. And you can see down to the south, Indy's at 51, mid to upper 60s across Missouri. So the question is any of that heading here? We'll look at those temperatures coming up here. The other stories we're working on do have slight chances of rain and, yes, even some snow with these milder temperatures Weekend's kind of a half and half story. We'll break that down for you, and a lot of questions into next week. We'll look at those potentials and see what the rest of the week holds in just a few minutes. Karen?
All right, thank you, Ben. What went wrong, how, and why? The U.S. Senate is trying to answer those critical questions about the January 6th siege on the Capitol Hill. Today's joint hearing is the very first time officials and former officials are on the hot seat about the insurrection. Kimberly Gill in the newsroom, and Kim, Michigan Senator Gary Peters is center stage today.
He is. That's right, Karen, and good afternoon to you. Senator Peters is one of the chairs of this joint hearing. There's been some finger pointing, and officials are blaming faulty intelligence for the chaos at the Capitol. But there's one thing all the witnesses agree on, and that is the attack was planned and coordinated.
Talk to me. What did you see that leads you to believe that this was a coordinated attack?
There were hand signals that were being used by several of the insurrectionists. There was radio communication by several individuals that were involved. The coordinated use of chemical munitions to include bear spray by several people that were out there. I certainly believe it was coordinated.
There's general agreement the attack was coordinated. There are concerns over whether the siege should have been anticipated. Some witnesses say they expected a protest like other Make America Great Again demonstrations they'd seen in the past. Others say the warning signs were there and key intelligence was not shared with everyone who needed to hear about it.
Particularly the January 5th, the FBI report that had some very significant warnings from social media about people who were coming to Washington who wanted to wage war. The fact that did not get to key leaders in the Sergeant of Arms or the Capitol Police Chief is, of course, very disturbing.
In the end, Senator Klobuchar, who you just heard from there, said she found the hearing very productive. She hopes Congress will focus on fixing intelligence gaps and revamping security procedures on Capitol Hill. We'll have more on the key points from today's hearing when you join us for the news at 5. We'll see you then.
All right, thank you, Kim. Michigan is dealing with some serious concerns today about standardized testing in the age of COVID-19. The state asked the federal government for waivers to allow more flexibility during this challenging time. That request denied. So today, our Paula Tutman telling us the decision now sends state educators back to the drawing board and what it means for your students.
There's both good and bad in standardized testing. Start with the need for testing to make certain that all children, no matter where they live or how much money their parents make, or regardless of their means or family situations, that they have government mandated equal access to the same education as every other child in public learning. And a way to hold districts accountable is with standardized testing.
All right, miss, you ready?
To lose that standard would be a slippery slope that could slide poor and disadvantaged children, and mostly minorities, back to the pre-busing days and that separate and unequal access to learning. But at the same time, by enforcing the federal standards, it is mostly the poor, disadvantaged, and yes, minority children who will be hurt most because they have had the most difficulty in navigating virtual learning during the pandemic.
This is not the time to jump through hoops to make sure that kids are tested on a national level when they should be learning. Everyone's talking about learning loss, but how about giving us more time to teach?
Kenneth Gutman wears two hats, one as the superintendent of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District, also the vice president of the K-12 Alliance Michigan, which represents more than 500,000 students, educators, and schools across the state.
The reality is right now we need to be teaching, not testing. We have local assessments. Local assessments work, and our students are well served by them.
While the Board of Education did say that it will show some flexibility by allowing states to make individual cases for waiving these tests.
It's a catch-22, to be honest with you. Again, to provide, especially when you talk about the SAT, because again, that's getting to your point, college and post-secondary access to a certain degree, to make sure that kids still have that option and access to that assessment.
John Dignan, superintendent for the Wayne Westland Community School System, says he too believes the U.S. Board of Education has gotten this one wrong.
I would trade off the instruction and kind of meeting the social emotional needs of our kids first and foremost. And we still have data that from nationally normed assessments that can tell us where our kids are at and what they need.
Okay, so what this means to your child, bottom line, is that unless some flexibility can be negotiated come spring, students and teachers are going to have to juggle recovery learning as well as learning for testing. Every educator I've spoken to, including the president of the teachers union, says this is a real problem they don't need when they're already so far behind. Karen.
All right. Thank you, Paula. Still ahead here first at 4. It is one of the best-known brands in the auto industry, but is it time for the Jeep Cherokee name to be retired? A lot of people are talking about this one this afternoon. Also, a canine rescue, the huge effort it took to get this dog out of a very tight spot. And if you are just joining us, we do continue to follow breaking news out of California, where golf star Tiger Woods has been injured in a rollover crash. You see the damage done to his SUV. We're told he was alone in the car, the airbags deployed, and it took the jaws of life to get him out. He is undergoing surgery for multiple leg injuries right now. Watch Local 4 and click on Detroit.com for updates.
A new coronavirus vaccine brings new hope.
I'll show you what makes this vaccine different from the others, and it's not just the single dose.
Tomorrow on Local 4 News Today.